January 9, 2013, Milford Finance Committee. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes,
It should be a short meeting, hopefully.
Second that motion.
Minutes from October 10th.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Good. All right. Budget discussion. I have Paul working on some numbers. We're not ready to talk about them. We're still waiting for a little bit to see where the federal government's going with the fiscal cliff and what they come up with, and see where how the state's going to be impacted. So at this point in time, I would probably recommend if people want to start budgeting, somewhere between 1% and 2% max. I would keep it closer to 1 and see where it goes. And when the state and the feds finally figure out where they're going, and we have better numbers, then we can come out with some hard numbers, probably in a couple months.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, have you given any consideration as to when you would like the subcommittees to come before the full board?
Let me work that out. Okay. It will probably be in the April time frame.
We'd just like to give them
typically April.
Okay.
Since town meeting will be in May, we should have budgets finalized by then, at least. We'll send out a general statement. People should start doing what they're doing. They need to understand that the numbers that we're talking about are total budget increase. So if we're gonna do 1.5%, and you have people with raises that are in the 2% range, 2.5% range, you're gonna have to work that out in your budget. Mm-hmm. And we will discuss that in the March-April timeframe and see where people sit. Any questions? We will have a budget subcommittee meeting probably the end of this month, beginning of next, just to come up with some more solidified numbers. Easy. All right, subcommittee reports.
On public safety, the police chief was called and reviewed with the chairman of the police subcommittee, and he is tracking on. He doesn't see any potential problems. The question was asked of the chief with regards to the added police presence in the schools and around and about town following the Connecticut awful happening in Newtown, Connecticut. And the chief assured everyone that he can handle that particular portion in his budget for this year. So as we go through today, it does not appear to be a problem, but we know what winter can do. We know that if we have any kind of other problem, he may have a problem, but the chief is quite comfortable that he'll be able to handle his budget as planned. I'm remiss, I haven't really talked with the school in a while. After the incident in Connecticut, I did email the superintendent and told him that they should get together and have a discussion of what security situation is at the school, and that this committee would support whatever reasonable increases in costs to maintain a good security at the school. He said at this point in time, that was back in November, that right now they're fine. They are increasing some security measures, and they're handling it within their own budget, which was what the original discussion back at budget time was. I can tell you that they have tightened up the security considerably, particularly at the secondary level, at the high school. They escort you everywhere now, and nobody comes in. And so yes, they really have been, and I know they've been talking amongst themselves and with the police department. And so far as I know, the superintendent feels comfortable with what he has going on now.
When we do have a subcommittee meeting with them, we'll bring it up at that time.
This just came up in casual conversation. That's it on the police department, Mr. Chairman. With the fire department,
Pretty much the same response from the fire chief. The budget is trending as he had hoped it would, as he had planned it would. As you know, and as the committee knows, our biggest problem is a problem that we can't really monitor at this time of the year, and that's his overtime budget. His overtime budget, whatever it may say today, can be impacted with certain things that happen in the winter, and we know when the springtime comes, if we have fires, if we have wooded fires, if we have any kind of field fires that requires bringing in more staff and so forth, that's where the overtime goes. But as of today, his budget is in line. He has two situations that he addressed with me. One was the fact that he has one of his officers retiring this spring, and there is a buyback as part of that. He can cover the buyback in his budget. He has plans for that, he has planned for that. However, he said there may well be 2 additional people that retire, and he will not be able to handle it if that were to occur before the end of this year. So I asked him to see if he couldn't come to some decision or get some information from these folks so that we can plan as to how that particular situation will be addressed. So as we sit here tonight, he is in pretty good shape, but as everybody around the table knows, if we have a very dry spring and he has to call out grass fires and so forth, that could go away very quickly. So that's essentially it with the those two committees. And if I may, Mr. Chairman, may I do the building committee?
Absolutely.
Okay. The building committee has really had, we haven't had a great deal to do, because most of what we can do now is being generated by what we get out of Boston. And we did come up with the project manager. We met in Boston with MSBA on Monday. And MSBA on Monday quizzed us as to why we selected Jocelyn and Lesser as the project managers. We did cover that. When I say we, it was a superintendent, Bob Tremblay, Jonathan Bruce, the vice chairman of the building committee, and I was with them. And we did explain to them, and they do quiz you. I mean, you go right around the table and they want to know. And there were about, I would say, 14 or 15 people, some people from the trades, some attorneys and things of that sort, and some architects. So as of yesterday, I don't know that the letter arrived saying that they approved our selection. I have no, I'm very comfortable that they're going to approve the selection. Mm-hmm. So I've scheduled a meeting for this coming next Wednesday, whereupon the project managers will come in. They will deal with the building committee, explain our next process, which once again we have to go out and advertise for design work. So it's going to be I never thought it would be 18 months, but we're talking about 18 months. Well, it's going to be 18 months because, to their credit, the state's very thorough. They're really crossing the T's and dotting the I's on the projects. Once that selection is there, we'll go back into Boston and review that with them again, and then this thing should take off. We have a tentative timetable, and I say tentative because if we miss one of the dates in Boston, that throws us back 2 weeks. We're looking at the end of this coming March, when the designer selection panel will be conducting the interviews for the designer selection. So that's 2.5 months from now. And we have a few junctions to hit along the line. But we're moving pretty well. The committee's been very, very cooperative, and they've been very good at getting to the meetings. And even though we haven't had a lot of meetings, we've had enough where we've had to have people here, we've had to have votes. So following Thursday's meeting, I'll know a little bit more. I'll be able to give you another report, and at some point, as we move further on, we'll have to probably ask the project managers to give us an explanation. When I say us, I'm talking about the Finance Committee, and give us an explanation as to where we're going, and, because right now, they're going to be the ones who lead the parade, because they're gonna do the so-called heavy lifting for us, so.
I would recommend that you schedule that into your schedule, either quarterly, semi-annually, I mean, whatever you guys feel is the right timing to have them come here and make a presentation to us and see where we are in general, and so we can ask some questions, et
Once
cetera.
we get past the next 2 months, I expect we will have more material to bring
Right.
forward. Right now, there's very little that we can tell you.
No,
But,
that's fine.
yeah, we'd certainly be more than willing to do that. We certainly will.
I mean, in the process, I think this committee is going to really want to know how we're headed and where the estimated costs are going to be, so we can do some sort of planning. We do have numbers that the long-term capital planning committee has put together, and we want to see if we can stay within those numbers to make it affordable to this town.
As you,
Just one other question, the architects, I mean, the project managers that you guys chose, they were on the approved
Oh, yes.
list, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I don't see why
Well, they're very well respected.
MSBA wouldn't
Yeah.
approve it, right?
They're very well respected at MSBA. They're one of the upper echelon, if I could say that, of the project managers, so
And the architects also come from that list, right?
they will,
Yeah.
yeah, at some point.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
Yep. Aldo, I had a quick question. I don't know if it came up. I had heard that the police chief had provided some radio equipment to the schools. I think they were talking 20 to 30,000. Did that come up?
I don't know anything about it, Chris, to
Okay.
be honest with you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Aldo.
Public Works, Parks Department, their budget is on track. There's no issues and none foreseen at this point. Same thing with the tree warden, he doesn't have any issues at this time. His budget's tracking as he expected. You know, with storms and stuff that come up, there may be, you know, times when, you know, he'll have to call in the tree people, but other than that, he doesn't see anything out of the ordinary at this time either. Highway Department, everything's on target except his overtime. When Sandy hit, they used $5,000 that he didn't expect to use. And then he found out, he said that FEMA is not reimbursing that. So at this point, he's just gonna keep an eye on it. I think he has $5,000 left in there. And as the spring construction season comes along, he'll have a better assessment of where he stands at that, and he'll just keep us informed as to how that's going.
All right. On the tree warden, did he go out for contracts?
Yes, that was when they did when they went out to bid when Scott did that, he included that as part of that bid package.
All right. And the other question I had was Parks Department. I'm not sure it does come out of the Parks Department. Do we have any update on where the concession stand at the high school field is? Do we know anything?
No, I don't know anything about that.
That would be the building, that would be the people that were.
The ad hoc.
Yeah, oh, that's you.
Right.
You're the ad hoc person.
I'm the ad hoc.
All right, I'll get to the ad hoc committee in a
Well, I
minute.
don't have an answer for you right now, Mr.
Well,
Chairman, but
then
I will
then
take
won't-
that as an action.
Then I won't call you.
Okay, very good.
Anything else, Tracy?
Nope, that's about it.
How's snow and ice? Obviously, gotta be low right now.
No, I didn't ask about that, and he didn't mention anything, but I can check on that and see where that is. I mean, they've probably been out, we had that one snowstorm and a
One
couple
ice.
of,
Couple ice storms.
A lot
yeah.
of ice, though.
A lot of ice.
They've been sanding and salting for the ice.
David? Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Same to you.
All right.
You wanted to ask me about, are we doing the reviews on senior center? Youth center?
If anybody, if you could be up, if anybody has any questions for Joyce.
No, good.
All the fields being occupied 100% of the time.
Even in the winter.
Right, they shovel them off first.
There you go.
Want to do library first?
Well, one other question. Did they buy a lawnmower yet? I'm trying to figure out where we are on the capital expenditure side too. You know, we had all this money approved back in
Yeah,
October.
I
and
don't know that's been done yet. I'll ask him on that. If he
yeah,
did
no
that.
sense going out in May for the thing that they're gonna use in April. But,
No sense in going out
right.
in December.
Well, highway was
You're not
buying a
Well, no,
couple
you may be able to get a better deal in December.
So Parks was gonna buy theirs.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that.
Was the parks, didn't we appropriate more money so that they could do more on the trails? And then
Yes.
that was gonna be,
Yeah.
was that a one-time thing, or was that a perennial?
Well, we're gonna look at it after this year and see where it
Okay.
went and who spent what. I mean, some of it went to the highway department and some of it goes to the parks department. We'll see what Scotty spends and we'll see what Mike spends at the end of the fiscal year, and then we can make a determination of what we're gonna do next year. But we'll look at that at budget time,
But the mower that they were looking to buy, was that
separate and apart.
totally separate? Okay.
Yeah, no, Scotty bought, we're supposed to buy
sidewalk.
a sidewalk tractor that has an arm that can do the brush along the trail. I went to that demonstration, and it was pretty interesting. This huge, good-sized machine. It's a 60 or 72-inch cut.
72.
72 inch in front of the machine, and they cut the high school softball field in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
15 minutes. But the problem was the field was wet. So it made tracks. And the Parks Department didn't like the fact that it made tracks, how they're gonna play on the field with tracks, soccer, et cetera, et cetera. So they
You
opted.
turf the field, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
You could turf the
Turf
field.
everything.
Hold your tongue.
Right, we could do that.
Won't make any tracks
So they
on
opted
that?
out of that mower attachment. But Scotty's supposed to buy that piece of equipment to do the sidewalk and cut the brush.
I see.
There'll be money coming back from that for the attachment, and we gave them the money, we gave the Parks Department the money for the lawnmower, so it'll be a net gain of 25,000, I think, back from that capital appropriation.
Okay.
Any other questions for Joyce? All set?
Want me to go? What do you-
Michael?
Came in late. You should go.
All right, well, he can
End
stay,
of the line.
no applause, save him for the end.
Go ahead.
Library.
Library?
I met with the library director, Susan, on Monday night, and salaries and wages are tracking. No issues at the moment with that. Her expenses are also in line, almost halfway into the season. She did a preliminary look to maintain library certifications, and it looks like her budget would have to go up less than 2%, like a 1.5% right now. But the library union is still in negotiations. That hasn't been settled, so we don't know what the implications of that agreement will be. So stay tuned for that. On the articles, you asked a question, Mr. Chairman, about how those expenditures are going. So she's gone out for bid on the furniture. She doesn't have it yet. They've been looking at how to reconfigure and what makes most sense, what kind of furniture to buy. The youth, the young adults area in particular, in the children's room, looking at different types of new furniture for the kids. She has something called Leapsters, where I guess they can move the desks around and for the kids, and it makes it a more homey environment and better learning and the like, so,
Beanbags.
something like that. But the HVAC expenditure, they do have the new chiller installed. That took longer. The company replaced the York chiller with a train chiller. It didn't quite fit the pad. They had to make a new pad, change the fence, and there's issues because it doesn't hook up to the electrical box right now. So she's withheld the last payment, obviously, which makes sense. You don't do that until you finish up the project. And still in negotiations with the company, JCI, because they have to do some work in the electrical box to make it work.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Are you done?
Well, you have a question? We can.
About that particular
Yeah.
item. I'm just curious that no one thought to evaluate.
They came out and looked, absolutely, Mr. Checky, they knew exactly what they had to do.
You're talking about the supplier.
Yeah, he was there, won the bid. They had a good walkthrough, nothing was a surprise. He said, no problem, it's a drop and leave, but when they went to drop it, he couldn't leave.
Now the $64 question here. Who owns the difference from what originally was said was going to happen and what in reality will happen?
She's still disputing that. There's like another $6K that would have to be spent, but she does, right now, the position is that the company, it's their nickel, and she's been talking to Jerry Moody to maintain that position.
That's a great position.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, right.
You know, they went out and looked at it, won the bid.
Exactly right. So that's where we are on that. So hopefully that gets resolved before the springtime when the chiller actually
They're
needs
gonna
to
need
be
it.
start chilling, right? Let's see, and we talked about her capital planning going forward. She does have the roof on there for a near term. However, we're gonna go up and, John Erickson's gonna go up and take a walk up there. The roof seems to be okay. They did some patching last year. It is 28 years old, or like, since the building was built, but especially with the last storm and the melt, if there's no real issues and it looks like it's got integrity, maybe it doesn't need to be a real close near-term thing. The only other things is she may be looking at technology upgrades and electrical upgrades. More people bring laptops in now and want to be on the wireless, so the library's old, doesn't have that many plugs, right? So figure out what you do with that. And then she put some money in for parking, but to be perfectly truthful, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what you can do for the parking situation.
Oh.
I built the parking up on the roof. Solves the roof issue.
No, you build up on that parking lot, you have 4 or 5 stories, you make. and then you-
Spiral.
Well, you
Spiral
know,
thing.
in New York City, as you know, they have those lifts.
Car
really.
lifts, perfect.
Yeah,
Ballet,
something like
maybe.
that. But anyways,
Costs more, I mean, to park there, but it's, you know,
exactly.
not a problem.
So at the moment, that's good. We do have a meeting tomorrow with the trustees, just to introduce the new year and what we expect in the budgets, and I'll outline, Jerry and I will outline that if Jerry can, we can make it, and
Ju-
that'll be tomorrow.
Just so she knows that you don't need plugs for wireless.
I told her that. I said, you know,
It's a non-issue.
laptops are one thing, tablets, really, no
Wireless.
one comes in.
They run on batteries. They
Like
they
that.
last for
Everything.
11 hours,
That's
man.
it. The next generation of technology, you really probably don't need all those plugs.
Are they asking for people that have laptops where the battery is dying and they need to plug it in?
Well, typically, you'd want to provide that service, you know, like, when I'm at an airport, there's places to plug in everything now.
Right,
you know,
that's what I think she means.
But,
Charge it up
and then, of
before you
course,
leave
the
home.
question, of course, is where do you put the plugs? You put them on the floor? Do you put them in through the
service,
desks? You know, because I said,
Plug in
last thing
your
you
car
want is to have
cigarette lighter.
wires all over the library, and people tripping over them, you know.
Put a couple posts in
It's
like
even
that.
worse, Al, they're coming out of the ceiling.
Sure.
So anyways, at the moment, libraries are on course with the
Good.
budget.
Questions for Michael? Oh, what about the ad hoc committee? Well, you want to finish the library first? Any questions for Mike?
And I don't have an answer on the concession stand. I don't think anybody's looking for a hot dog right at this moment, Mr.
Well,
Chairman,
we
so I'll.
play ice hockey, or throw snowballs out there, and we need some hot chocolate and stuff.
That field alone until the springtime. But I will get an answer and I will submit to you and for distribution.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, well, the other thing, real quick, I do have the library certification information, why it benefits us to keep the library certified. I'll make copies and distribute that.
All right, well, one of the questions you should ask tomorrow night is if we can't supply the additional 2% to her budget for certification, what's the waiver process?
Right. I will take
Because
that.
we've gone through this before, and you know the rules.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Awesome.
Ask her, on the concession stand, did Brian and the selectmen get the waiver?
I don't know.
To
That was
put
one of
in
the
the,
questions.
to put in the bathrooms that
My
they-
understanding is yes.
Less
My
toilets.
understanding is yes, we did get the waiver. We don't have to build a Gillette Stadium size
Right.
Right.
laboratory.
So how many do we have to build?
I think that they had they had a modular building that they were looking at for the pad. That was where I left it last.
No, I mean, how many bathrooms?
I think it, well, it was men's and
Reasonable.
ladies. I think there was 6.
Was it
Couples.
9?
8 and 6 or 10 and 6.
Yeah, eight and
Eight and
6,
nine.
something like that.
8 and 6?
It wasn't that big. I thought it was total 8 altogether.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was 9
It was more than that, too.
No, I don't think
Maybe
so.
not.
Wasn't that big. I'll give you a full brief.
All right, yeah, be good to know. That's been going on for a while. Maybe
Brian
we get it
shows
in
up,
for the
we'll ask him
spring
directly, but,
season. Okay. You'll ask. John, you have anything?
John?
Vinny's not here.
You're up. Did you go? So, the
Dave.
youth center? Thank you. So I spoke to the youth center. A couple of issues. They're waiting for a $30,000 payment from United Way. And Mr. Minor, Paul Minor, who we know, is coming in with on a meeting with them on Monday. And he will discuss, giving them the $30,000. There doesn't appear to be any issue with it. He just wants to have an update on what their activities are before they release it.
That was supposed to be here in July.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but it's right now they have not received it. I know that, and we'll know if there is an issue after the meeting with the full board on Monday.
Will you be at that?
Not sure. I'll check my. Can you be there if I can't? I'll check my calendar.
Good possibility.
All right, I'll let you know.
They need to understand that that 30K doesn't go to them. It goes back
They know,
to-
and they know that.
Goes back to the general fund.
They know that. They're very clear on that. Now, I'm waiting for a report from Zach, but I'm told, I don't have the report with the numbers on it, I'm told that even without the 30,000, they're still, in the black, not running at a deficit, so that they don't technically need 30,000, even though it goes to the general fund, to balance their budget if we consider it all as one.
Now I'm
Okay.
confused. We gave them 60.
Right. So let me just hold judgment on the timing of it and where, back-end payments and, what they're expending this year. All I know is they're telling me that they have $50,000 surplus or cash reserves.
Right.
Okay? And they don't have the 30,000 yet, so they have enough to cover everything, and they're running programs at a profit right now. So I'll have more for you later.
Okay.
Can't get into all the detail yet. So, don't ask me any technical stuff because it's up in the air.
All right.
And what was the other thing? Oh, on the health, what's my other board? The Board of Health.
Board of Health.
I'm waiting for a report from Paul, and I called him, and I didn't get a chance to touch base with him, but can't tell you anything on that.
Obviously, it's January, so I don't know when they go out to bid for the wage contracts and all of that other kind of stuff. I don't remember if it was a 1 year, 2 year contract.
I thought the last one was a 2-year.
I thought the last one was 2.
On
So
both
this will be the second year,
Wheelabrator
right?
and the waste management.
This is year number 2.
I don't
I
remember.
think we're going into year 2, and we're in the middle of year 2 in this fiscal year right now that we're in.
And he's gonna want to, he's gonna have to worry about what the increases are gonna be.
Right.
Into FY14.
And the transfer station is doing well, as far as I know.
All right. Anybody else? Just me. All right. Like I said at the beginning, I haven't met with the school subcommittee or with the school committee in a while. They've been going through a whole bunch of stuff, so my plan is to get with them, or our subcommittee get with them by the end of this month. So we'll have some information. I do send out their monthly budgets. They are tracking on budget. No major surprises. Nobody's called or emailed and said, listen, we're through the roof on this one area, so I'm not real concerned about the budget part of it. The concern obviously will be next fiscal year and how they manage their choice funds. Right now, they got $1 million and change in their choice account, and that's supposed to go down about $600,000, I think, by the end of the year for stuff they're going to do. So we'll see how that works, but I will meet with them by the end of the month. The other subcommittee was long-term capital planning subcommittee. We had a meeting on Monday night. A couple of things. I stepped down as chairman of that subcommittee. I only did it just to start it off. Al will run that subcommittee. He's going to ask Paul to send out requests from all department heads, so you should let all your department heads know to come up with additions to the existing 5-year plan. They're going to have to add a year. 2017, I believe, will be the last year. And there are some departments that have never put anything on that budget or on that request form, and one of them is I know Vinny's not here. I spoke with him earlier, or I emailed him.
I know that Amy is looking at technology. She's also going to need some more money for special elections. I'm not quite sure what that,
Maybe 3.
well, 2, I think. There's supposed to be a primary and a...
2 specials.
Yeah, 2 specials.
We gotta,
And it appears they're not going to align with the town election in April. I think they're going to be May and June, which I don't quite understand why they need a primary in May and
do
a...
we get reimbursed for some of that?
No.
Because I'd heard rumor we got reimbursed for some of it from the state. Like I said, rumor.
I don't think we did the last time.
So, Mr.
It's
Chairman,
factored into state aid.
the special election may not align with the town election. Can't we move the town election?
You have to, in order to move the town election, you have to have town meeting vote, and you have to submit it to
change
the
the
Attorney
bylaws.
General, and so the bottom line is, she estimated it's about 28,000 for the 2 elections. We haven't talked with her, or Vinnie, I haven't talked with Vinnie. We had some suggestions, maybe for the special primary Senate election, we may, we'll ask her if we could do it all at the Portuguese Club, because it's not gonna be a big turnout, theoretically. Same thing.
Could do something there,
It may be difficult to deal with because people are used to voting in one spot and then, but we'll have that discussion with her, which will cut the cost a little bit. No police details in 3 places, only 1, and et cetera.
Do it at the high school cafeteria.
But Al will ask Paul to send out a letter to all department heads to update and/or add capital requests through the next 5 years.
Okay.
The other thing that Paul was working on, and he sent requests to all department heads, I believe, is a chart with all the municipal buildings and all the major systems in the building: roof, parking, HVAC, electrical, lighting, heat, whatever the major areas are, and when was the last time they were replaced, when the projected next time they're going to need to be replaced. So at least we have a heads up for the next 10 years, whatever, on what's coming up. Instead of hearing that the police station needs a new roof for $600,000, theoretically, we'll know it's going to be there in 3 or 4 years for another building. I mean, this building needs a new roof, and that's on the thing for next year. But again, it should have been projected based on age of the roofs, or age of the HVAC equipment, or age of the carpeting, or, those kinds of things we should be able to determine way ahead of time and at least plan for. So that committee is doing that. They will have meetings with reports reports to this committee sometime before town meeting, and an annual report to town meeting in October. We'll just continue the one that we originally did, which the selectmen thought was good data and good information. So that's all I have on subcommittees that I know of. I'm trying to remember what else Vinnie said about general government. Just Amy was the only one. Any questions? Nope. Any new business? Any old business?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you and good night.